Hello, and welcome to the eighth episode of Weekly Football Talk, or WFT. My name is once again Lee Lublin, and this week we're actually going to. I know I've been kind of going on a Bucks parade talking about their games mainly, but their game was very uninteresting this week, so instead I'm going to talk about one of the 1 o'clock games, and probably ended up being, truthfully, if you look at it, impossible. It was looking like it was going to be the game of the week, and then one of the teams ended up kind of just completely taking over in the second half and possibly throwing their selves into the ring of AFC powerhouses. And that game was the 4-2 Cincinnati Bengals versus the 5-1 Baltimore Ravens. And the final score of that game ended up being 41 Cincinnati, 17 Baltimore. And if you had heard that score and you heard the Bengals were 5-2 before the year started, I think a lot of people would have not believed you or kind of laughed in your face because people didn't have very low expectations for the Bengals, but they didn't have very high expectations either. Most people I talked to, including myself, had them anywhere between 5 to 7 wins. Starting to see a little bit of progress because they have some very real talent. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase has proven to be incredible. Joe Mixon, Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins round out the receiving core, and that's very solid. But there's still some questions about their O-line, and their defense last year was very suspect. And myself included, a lot of people were not very confident in Zach Taylor and felt like that this was a real shot. She might have gotten fired if the Bengals didn't do well this year. But some things have been a little more different than we expected. First of all, like I said, Jamar Chase already might be a top 10 to top 5 receiver. He is absolutely ridiculous. The defense has actually become one of the best defenses in the league, point-wise. They have not allowed more than, I believe, either 20 or 23 points in any game so far, and they might be one of the few, if not the only defense to do that. That is very impressive. And then this team has just kind of gotten good at winning close games. Now, this week, it was looking like after the first half that it was going to be kind of a slow defensive slugfest with the occasional big play. If you watched the first half, most of it was long drives or defenses, with one exception. Joe Burrow was able to get a pretty big touchdown to his tight end, CJ Uzmesh, I believe is what his name is. It's a very odd name. But he got a 55-yard touchdown from Joe Burrow. And that, along with 2 Cincinnati field goals, actually put Cincinnati up 13-10 at half. But with the way Baltimore's been playing this year, and then just with their past history, most people were expecting, all right, Baltimore's probably going to still end up winning this game. And after the third play of the second half, I think most of those people felt vindicated. Baltimore actually ended up getting a huge deep pass to Hollywood Brown, their number 1 receiver from Lamar, to get a 60-yard touchdown and put themselves up 17-13. But ironically enough, that would be the last time Baltimore scored. And after that, Cincinnati riled up 28 consecutive, just scored 28 unanswered points. And a lot of them were very big plays. The biggest play far and away was when Cincinnati was up 20-17. And they had just forced Baltimore to punt and got the ball back pretty deep in their own territory. And Joe Burrow threw a ball to Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase broke 3 tackles and took it all the way 70 plus, I believe it's 82 yards for a touchdown. And that put Cincinnati up 10. And that was kind of it after that. There was not really anything else Baltimore could do. It was Cincinnati just kept piling on from there. They kept stopping Baltimore's offense and then kept scoring. And eventually, it was 41-17. It had turned in from what looked like it was going to be a good, close NFC North matchup to Cincinnati running away with it. And now they are 5-2 and officially have the best record in the AFC. Which, like I said, if you talk to anyone before the year, no one thought Cincinnati was going to be that good. Baltimore falls to 5-2, but They're still looked. I still am very confused about Baltimore as a team. Obviously, with the way the record is and the talent, mainly Lamar Jackson, I think they're still going to go places, but they've played really inconsistent, and you can tell that defense is not what it used to be. Part mainly because of injuries, but also some personnel changes. So I think Baltimore definitely is going to be making the playoffs, but definitely not that sturdy group. They're being carried a lot by Lamar, which I think old Ravens teams, it was really hard to say they were ever really being carried by a specific player. This one, it does feel like Lamar is kind of the make or break for that team. And then Cincinnati, we'll see if they can keep it up. They're 5-2 right now, and they've looked impressive. And their only two losses are a kind of shocker to the Bears at this point, though. It's very weird going back at it. Joe Burrow threw 3 interceptions in that game, and then a very very close loss to Green Bay, which and Green Bay itself is a very good team. So it looks like Cincinnati might be legit. I'm still holding out a little bit. I always, from teams who have been bad, especially multiple years before, I need a little bit more, especially if they hadn't shown me something in the offseason. So I'm still not entirely sold on Cincinnati, but I will give them their due. I thought they were only going to win 6 or 7 games, and they already have 5 wins. So they're definitely blowing my expectations for them out of the water. And yeah, that's pretty much it for today. Just wanted to talk about that game. It ended up being that game down the line can end up being very crucial since it looks like Cincinnati's actually going to be in the division race. So having a win over Baltimore is pretty big right now. So that's it for this week. Next week, I'll be coming at you with another recap. Thank you so much. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Share with your friends. And that's it from me. Peace.